exploded in the direction of Roswell Air Force Base on July the 3rd, 1947, and these balloons were coated with thin aluminum sheathing. Now go back and remember the description that Jesse Marcel gave of what he found in the field on Brazel's Ranch. And the man in charge of that Project Mogul was Richard Doty's father. That's significant. We are now in the process of getting documentation through the Freedom of Information Act to prove this. Next. I'm saying that we can no longer accept that a UFO crashed on the basis of the evidence that we now have. We've got to find out there's something else to this. We have a Project Mogul that released balloons on July the 3rd near Roswell, New Mexico. It's coated with thin sheeted aluminum. No, it wasn't. No. No. They also released balloons from Project Mogul also in June, on several dates in June of 1947. What I'm saying is that Richard Doty is participating in putting out phony flying saucer information to the world, and his father was in charge of Project Mogul, that we need to look at this more closely. That's what I'm saying. You don't understand. These balloons were also released in June of 1947. The crash at Roswell occurred in July. Well, you have to also understand that you're taking the word, you have no evidence, you're taking the word of an intelligence officer who may be participating in creating something for you to believe that doesn't exist. Listen to me very carefully. One of the best ways to bring about a one-world government and get you to accept the destruction of your Constitution and the loss of the sovereignty of this nation is to create an artificial alien threat from outer space so that all humanity will give up whatever they have to and band together to face this threat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm presenting evidence to you that should make you want to do some more investigating before you believe anything. And I specifically stated at the beginning of this lecture, I don't want you to believe anything that I say or anything that I show you, but I want to create enough curiosity and maybe anger and maybe a lot of other things in you that you help me start looking for the truth. That's what I'm about.
Earlier, you said that you would explain why the government's billions of dollars in stealth aircraft and other conventional aircraft with this technology we have. Why are they so ignorant of the fact that we have this kind of technology? That be the case?
I've already explained it to you, sir. Some people can't, and I know it's hard to put all this together. You saw that there's a population problem. The technology that they're hiding from us would make us live longer, would give us better lives, would give us a source of possibly free energy or next to free energy, would probably give us methods in which to kill most, if not all, illnesses and diseases. And their goal is to cut back the population. They're not suppressing cancer cures so doctors can get rich. They're suppressing cancer cures so more people will die. So that they don't have to come out and say, you and you and you up against the wall, it's your day to get killed. They make it appear to be natural, or as natural as they possibly can. That's why.
Can you talk about AIDS?
This is a letter No, that's in the book. I'm not going to get into AIDS today. That's in the book. This is a letter that was written to the White House to Mr. Fitzwater, who was Reagan's press guy. And what he wanted to know is who wrote the paragraphs about aliens that Bush inserted into the end of 6 speeches that he gave during his administration. Most people don't even remember that he said those things, but he did. Next slide. What Marvin Fitzwater wrote back was that the president himself inserted those paragraphs. They were not put in there by the speechwriters. One of the speeches was to Boston High School students and faculty. Next. In which he said, I couldn't, but one point in our discussion privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children, wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet outside in the universe. Do you think all this stuff is coincidence? I hope you're beginning to wake up. He said this 6 times in 6 speeches in his administration. This is come together one world government stuff. This is alien threat from outer space stuff. 6 times the president said it. Next. To the General Assembly of the United Nations. Next. In our obsession with antagonisms of the moment, we often forget how much unites all the members of humanity. Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bond. I occasionally think how quickly our difference worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet I ask you, is not an alien force already among us? What could be more alien to the universal aspirations of our peoples than war and the threat of war? What would a one world government do? Abolish war. What is the threat that will bring it about? An alien threat from outer space. Please wake up. Next. In my book, I document the things our own Congress and our own people have been doing to destroy the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and join the one world order. Document it. I don't just say it, I document it. Most people don't know what goes on in Congress from day to day. They can pass anything they want to, and you would never know it until they come and bang on your door and throw you in jail because you didn't know it. Next. That's right. But they're not there because they know that most people aren't watching and don't give a damn. The backbone of hidden government. This is documented in my book. NSDDs, National Security Decision Directives, National Security Memos, the fact that they write memos and write law outside of Congress and the executive branch, and most of it is signed by auto pen. The president never sees it. Next. And next. And next. And these are some of the things that they've done. There's no time to go into it. Next. Next. This is the United States with the Soviet Union into a one-world government. That's from an organization called Free, put out by Johnny Stewart. The address over there, it's in my book. You want to know why you can't get the truth off of television, radio, or the newspapers? CFR owns, controls them. Barbara Walters, all of them are members of the CFR. Next slide. This is the super world government. I have the Bush administration. It's updated in the book of all the membership in the Bush organization. Next. This is George Bush. Notice Dan Quayle's not a member. Now this is serious. Their goal is a one world order, one world government, the destruction of the sovereignty of the United States, the merger of the United States and the Soviet Union. Why do you think our generals and admirals have been going back and forth to the Soviet Union, and theirs have been coming back and forth over here? They're getting ready to do it. Why do you think the Soviet Union began giving some more freedom to their peoples The people didn't bring that about. It was given from the top